After talking about Galarian's Ash, I needed to cover a vibrant, feel-good game that reminds me why I love this medium in the first place. Something out there, quirky, utterly unique, and just pure bottled fun. That's exactly what Gitaroo Man is. I was introduced to the title through my friends Mark and Dale around the time we were playing way too much Guitar Hero 2. Those two were heavily into rhythm games like Parappa the Rapper and Dance Dance Revolution, while I had two left feet. They were also significantly more hardcore anime and manga fans than I was at the time. They were importing dodgily subtitled DVDs of obscure OVAs, reading online scanlations, attending conventions, and even running small meetups and events of their own long before I got that far down the rabbit hole myself. Gitaroo Man had Mark and Dale written all over it. It's a series of one-on-one battles to save the universe through music, coupled with the outlandish and bombastic humour, aesthetic, and style of Incredible Crisis, Point Blank, and Jet Set Radio. I wouldn't have discovered this game without them, and I suppose this video is kind of a thank you to them. The core gameplay is extremely basic, but its simplicity doesn't prevent it from being really engaging. You play notes by holding the left analog stick in the direction of the on-screen trace line, and you press and hold the circle button during orange segments to play notes. Doing that successfully damages your enemy, while missing any hurts you. You'll also enter charge phases, where playing well refills your own health. The enemy can of course counterattack with their own riffs. During this, you'll have to dodge by hitting the buttons as they reach the center of the screen. Obviously, you'll take damage if you don't dodge in time. The first one to run out of health loses. It's really that straightforward, but that doesn't prevent the game from dumping a painfully long tutorial on you. This was the epitome of, okay, I get it, can I please move on now? It's especially egregious on repeat playthroughs. Don't turn your nose up at this game because of its simple setup. The game gets really intense pretty quickly, and you'll need to pay attention if you want to win. Gitaroo Man also provides some variety, having stages that are just dodging, or just attacking. There are also remixes of each song, so when you retry, you might get entirely different patterns and notes, keeping you on your toes. The game also does a fantastic job of storytelling through and during the songs themselves. Take the Sanbone Trio as a great example. Our hero, U1, doesn't have access to his powers. He's being assaulted by a barrage of music, and all he can do is dodge. Rather than just show that in a cutscene, it's part of the level. You experience that panic, complete with low starting health firsthand. Likewise, when he doesn't want to fight one of his opponents for plot reasons, you can feel the character's reluctance in the notes you're given to play. It's a stunning fusion of narrative and interaction that's only possible in video games. Actually, while I'm editing this, I'm noticing how characterful, complex, and charming the animations are throughout every song. So much wacky and incredible stuff's going on back there, but I've never noticed it before because my eyes have always been laser focused on the inputs. Certainly anyone watching you play will be entertained, but the player themselves misses out on so much action and loads of little jokes. Most classic rhythm games are cursed when played on modern displays though. Even in game mode, I noticed input lag, something I'm not usually sensitive to, and I had to train myself to hit buttons just before they reached the center. I really struggled during segments of rapid-fire notes, and noticed myself ignoring the on-screen prompts for songs I knew particularly well from past playthroughs. No doubt about it, I'd have had a better experience on a CRT where those few frames of delay simply don't exist. But I also have to consider how many of you watching still have access to one of those. Thankfully, there is an alternative. Gitaroo Man Lives on PSP. Yeah, the game got a re-release. On a portable system, you don't have to worry about input delay due to your HD TV interpreting the signal or any upscalers you might be using. The game feels so much more responsive and intuitive to play on the go. It's not all good news though. To get this PS2 game running well on a PSP, there are some minor downgrades to models and textures. To fit the 16:9 aspect ratio, the FMVs have been cropped at the expense of losing some of the image, a la the Dragon Ball Z orange bricks, which is especially noticeable when on-screen text is getting cut off. One change I'm on the fence about is the translation of Fly Into Your Heart. In the PS2 original, the lyrics are in Japanese, but for the PSP version, they're in English. Have a quick listen. This throws me off every single time. Now, I don't think it's a bad change, I'm just so used to the PS2's Japanese lyrics that hearing the English track surprises me whenever I play the PSP outing, and I've just never gotten used to it. A change that is definitely for the worse comes from the hardware. Instead of an analog stick, the PSP has that weird nubbin thing which isn't anywhere near as accurate. The game does compensate for this in its difficulty. It's noticeably less strict when you're trying to follow the trace line, and you seem to regain more health during charge sections. Just look at the difference in my health bar while charging up against Panpus here. That said, even the PS2 version of the game isn't that difficult overall. I only died once in each version. On PS2, I somehow failed the legendary theme, my absolute favourite track in the game, and felt mortified. On PSP, I lost to this absolute insane and prolonged onslaught from Gregorio that I haven't seen before, a foe I very narrowly beat by the absolute skin of my teeth on PS2. Gitaroo Man's also not very long. There are 10 stages, most of the tracks are 4 minutes, and you usually have 2 to 3 minutes of cutscene either side of that. You could probably beat this game in around an hour with a clean run. The game addresses both the difficulty and length with a handful of systems. The first is a ranking system, pretty standard, anything below an A you're probably going to want to retry. This is boosted by a collectible system. Each stage has 2. Surviving with any rank nets you the first, while grabbing a coveted A ranking bags the second. Finally, it's all topped off with a Master Mode difficulty setting that cranks the challenge up to 11, and which my clumsy thumbs will likely never beat. The PSP version then extends the game even further with 2 brand new exclusive co-op stages. Ideally, you'd play these with someone else, but given the current situation, that's not really feasible. Thankfully, you can still play them in single player, with the computer taking control of the other character. A feature I think should become common practice, instead of being a rare treat. The game's also incredibly replayable. I'll happily run through it again every once in a while because it lifts my mood, its short length means it's not a massive undertaking, and the music's just that good. Rhythm games live or die by their song selection, and Gitaroo Man takes a massive risk with an original soundtrack. It's an eclectic mix, alright. You've got pop, jazz, metal, samba, and more, yet nothing feels out of place. Almost every single song is solid gold. Well, maybe with the exception of Nuff Respect, that's kind of slow and meandering compared to the uplifting high energy of everything else. Gitaroo Man has one of the strongest original soundtracks in gaming as a whole, and the rightfully titled Legendary theme is easily top 10 material for me. It still gives me goosebumps even now. Hang on, just writing about it's given me the urge to go listen to it again. Okay, I'm back. I wholeheartedly recommend this game. The creators clearly had a very definitive vision that they executed seemingly without any corporate oversight. This game is as graffiti punk and liberating as it gets. It's got style for days, and it's rare to see anything with such a distinct and concentrated sense of self. This is exactly the kind of wacky, bizarre, out there yet utterly amazing game I want to see and play more of. I'm not necessarily asking for a sequel, I'm still sour about how that worked out for Galarians, but I am asking for more titles that break new ground, don't conform to established genres, and wear their developers' passions on their sleeves. If I'm feeling down, this game, with its core narrative message of a weird, awkward kid's journey of self-discovery, self-belief, and self-empowerment, in-your-face art style, and hilarious animation, never fails to bring me right back up again. It's incredibly special for that reason alone. Before I go, you might have noticed a lack of live or on-camera segments in this video. Put simply, it's because the house is a mess of boxes right now as we prepare to hopefully move out soon. I'm going to be putting the channel and its Patreon on hiatus for now. I've simply got too much going on right now. Buying a house is one of the 3 most stressful things you can do. Starting a new job is another one of them. Right now, I'm a first-time buyer during a global crisis while also being 1 month into a brand new job. I need to spend my weekends winding down and relaxing with my wife and kids instead of shutting myself away and making YouTube videos. I don't know how long the hiatus will be because buying property in the UK, actually getting exchange and completion dates varies massively. Getting the keys can take weeks, it can take months, no one ever seems to know. Then when I do get in there, I need to paint it, furnish it, get it ready before I can make any videos. I'd like to thank Chuckleson and Fractal, my 2 patrons, for their support. I'd also like to thank my best friends Richie and Terry for always having my back. I owe a thank you to my wife for putting up with my BS as I selfishly shut myself away to record and edit for hours at a time. And of course I owe a thank you to everyone who's watched any of my videos, subscribed to the channel, left a comment, or done anything to show me that you do care. In particular, this comment from Avalanche Reviews was a massive motivational boost, and I was unbelievably happy to read it. Seriously, that's the kind of thing that keeps me going.